Since I chose that career path, till today, I've had no regrets in electrical engineering. Just because I had an awesome physics teacher who was passionate about what he does, and he studied electrical engineering.
Hello, curious people. Welcome back to another conversation on the My STEM Careers Limited series brought to you by the Girl Lead Project. I'm Faith, your host. Today, we're going to be geeking out about power systems engineering with Dr. Efe Lois. Now, a bit about Dr. Efe Lois, our nerd for today. Lois is an emerging leader in electrical engineering. She's passionate about unlocking the untapped potential of modern energy infrastructure. She currently serves as a flexibility scheduling engineering analyst at Scottish and Southern Electricity Networks, applying her expertise to drive innovation in energy systems. Lois earned her PhD in electrical and electronics engineering from the University of Manchester's Power System and Energy Group, where her research focused on optimized demand-side flexibility and its impact on the operations of smart grids. Throughout her PhD, Lois published multiple research papers, traveled to actually present those papers in multiple countries, contributing to advancement in power systems. Now, Lois holds a bachelor's degree in electrical and electronics engineering with a first-class honors from the University of Benin, Benin City, Nigeria, and a master's degree in electrical power systems from the University of Manchester, where she was awarded the Best Student Prize. Now, beyond academia, this is really passionate and driven by impact and community. She actively volunteers with international organizations, including CIGRE UKNG as a University Hub Coordinator, IEEE-PES Women in Power Region as their Vice Chair, and she's an ambassador for the Institute of Engineering and Technology, IET. Lois is a true trailblazer, breaking barriers and fostering collaboration across the engineering community. Our trailblazer, welcome to My STEM Careers.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you?
I'm fine. Taking everything one step at a time. So yeah.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
Hope you've had a good week.
Yes, we can't complain. God is good.
All the time. So today, first of all, I can't wrap my head around the fact that you have a PhD. So I think for context, Lois and I went to high school together. So I was in art class, Lois was in science class. And it's just so surreal that how many years after now, Efe Lois is Dr. Efe Lois. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank
I'm really happy for you. That is an achievement. A feat for under 30. You're doing well. You're doing well. Okay. So today, the first thing that I want to first of all ask or probably understand is, why did you go into electrical engineering in university? Why was that the engineering that you had your sights on when you went into the program?
Yeah, so in high school, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So my dad is a civil engineer, like he
Okay.
studied civil engineering in school, and
Yeah.
he was like, you do civil engineering. And he comes the next day, you do petroleum engineering. I'm like, next day he comes back, no, civil engineering. And I'm like, no. Like, he was just confusing me every time. And I did not want that. I wanted to do something that I was passionate about. I
Yeah.
did technical drawing in school, and
Okay.
I was not a fan of TD. I didn't enjoy it. I knew that, okay, I don't think I can survive in civil. And then petroleum engineering was oil and gas, and I heard it require a lot of chemistry. And oh my God, I love chemistry, but doing chemistry full time, no. However, I think the icebreaker for me was we had a beautiful and very intelligent physics teacher who taught us in SS2. Apparently, I was among the few people that liked him, but he was really, really good. He was really good, and yeah, he was really good, and he was teaching physics with so much passion and joy. And he spoke about his journey. I had mentioned he studied electrical engineering, and I understood electrical engineering was more of physics. So I'm like, oh, nice! I'm going to study electrical engineering. And also today, I remember when I graduated the first class from Uniben, I reached out to him. I'm like, I graduated the first class. Thank you. It was you that made me study electrical engineering. And he was so happy. Since I chose that career path, till today, I've had no regrets in electrical engineering just because I had an awesome physics teacher who was passionate about what he does and he studied electrical engineering.
I mean, I never knew that was that guy, that person that see. So first of all of us did. We did all the courses in SS1. I think it
Yeah.
was the same person that taught us in SS1. It
Yes.
was. I
Yes.
failed.
No. I think he's not the same person. He came to our school in SS2. So yeah.
All of us were getting 9/100 in exam. 9/100. 9/100. All of us that were going to our class. The failure was widespread. And I think we could be like, I hated physics. I hated with it's a core passion. I hated because physics looked like math, except it was worse. And it was so difficult on that. And so interesting how people were on one end struggling with physics while you were there, we were like, oh my God, I'm so in love with this. And
Yeah, physics and maths.
yeah,
Yeah.
I remember because I think it was one of your highest scores back then.
Yeah.
I think you were definitely the best graduate student for physics, but it was
Yeah, it
definitely
was.
or anybody had any physics question, it was Efe Lois. And it's so random to see the impact of a teacher on somebody who is in high school and how they can help you follow through a path. Okay, that's really, really nice. So you go into electrical engineering. Now, somebody is in your shoes. They're thinking of making a decision between civil, electrical, petroleum. What exactly is electrical engineering?
Plain term for you to understand is we ensure the lights are kept on. So we deal with electricity, like you get power in your house, right? So we ensure the lights stay on. In the UK, in Nigeria, ensure that it's maintained a certain level that at least you have power sometimes in your house. So we ensure the light stay on and ensure continuous power flow. That's continuous supply of electricity to houses from generation to transmission down to distribution. And even maintenance, which includes continuous maintenance of our transformers. Transformers are like, how do I explain transformer in plain terms? Yeah, they're connected to a house where we step down voltage from the transmission network to the voltage that is required to supply your house. So yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I would say. So we have different grade: generation, transmission, distribution. So those three different tiers, and it's now also very dense. Source helps the grid, that's the network, to stay live and continue. So you continue to receive electricity in your house. So I think that's like the
Basic.
simplest form to explain electrical engineering.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Good. And so there's generation, transmission, and distribution. Now, you went and did your master's in power systems and PhD in power systems as well. Does power systems focus on a particular pillar of any of these three, or does it still focus on all three of them?
So power systems is also divided into generation, transmission, and distribution. However, my PhD research was focused on the distribution side. So I worked with flexibility service. I did flexibility service for 3 years of my PhD, and it was on demand side management for flexible operation of smart grids. So we are moving towards smart grids where we have like automated electrical devices. So instead of washing your washing machine at a certain time of the day, you can from your phone control how your washing machine is being used. You can from your phone turn on your light and turn off your light. So we are working with automated devices now, and it's becoming really rampant. And five is saying that it will grow higher. We'll have millions of houses using
Smart houses.
automated devices, smart houses, exactly. And yes, we have this increase. We want people to now support the grid, support us, support the network, support the system operators by utilizing your assets at certain times of the day. So literally what I focused on during my PhD is that instead of reinforcing the network, so investing money on generation or changing power lines or changing assets in the network, we are now investing on flexibility service, which means that the existing assets we have in the network, we are now using it to support the network. So we're modifying energy consumption at different times of the day. In clear terms, it means that we're telling you in your house, turn off your washing machine, turn off your refrigerator, turn off your heating if you're living in the UK, or your air conditioner from say 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we'll pay you for that.
Wow.
Yeah. However, my research focused on the reconnection of those loads. So currently, what's happening in the UK, they tell you to turn off your electricity from certain times of the day. And after that time, you can use your device in your house as you like. But my research focused on you're not going to use it as you like. Oh. I'm going to tell you where to turn back those devices
Devices.
because we have soon noticed from research that we tell customers to turn off their electricity at certain times of the day,
Yeah.
and then they turn it on, and everybody's turning on the electricity again. And we are
Okay.
trying to avoid overloading. We're not having an overloading in a supposed period where people are meant to be sleeping. We're like, no, no, no. We can still control when you use it. That's like the simplest way I have ever explained my research in my life. But like, yeah, that's what I did for my research. And it was 3 years of intense hard work. Yeah. So it was interesting. And I moved on to industry to work as a flexibility service engineer. So I now deal with talking to providers, that's the customers who actually
Yeah.
provide this capacity for us. They're aggregated customers. So I remember I mentioned, domestic customers will turn off their electricity at certain times of
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
However, I don't just work with people in their houses. We have
Okay.
suppliers who work with them. So
Okay.
I
So
work
like
as a
maybe Centrica,
like Octopus Energy. I don't know if you
Octopus.
know of. Yes, exactly. Axel Energy, Grid Beyond. Yeah, all of those people. I work with them and they now work with customers or work with the current asset they have to turn off they'll to modify their energy usage. Yeah. And
Okay.
we pay them. So I understand the whole payment process. So while I was doing my research, it was just operation. I didn't
Yeah.
consider money, I didn't consider anything. But
Yeah.
now I'm seeing, okay, how much do we have in our budget to pay people for this service? How was the effect in the network? So it's interesting. Yeah.
That's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Please, there's plenty I want to pick up out from that. First
Uh-huh.
of all, let me go back a bit. You said something about step down voltage. Now,
Yeah.
the way I think I understand what you're explaining to me is there is a grid, which is the network made up of all the
Yeah.
different transformers. Electricity is generated and then passed to those grids. Now,
Yes.
when it's distilling from the grids to maybe the people like Octopus Energy before it goes to the end user, there's a bit of step down where the electricity has to be modified to a voltage level. Or correct me, or to a level that can actually, because if it comes directly from the transformer to my house is going to be on fire.
Yeah.
Is that what step down is? Explain what that process looks like.
Yes, you have explained it in a very clear term. Octopus is a supplier. So I work in a digital network company. I'm a DSO. So I
Yeah.
work as part of the DSO team. And we are the people that actually receive this, well, let's say this electricity from the transmission network. So when
Okay.
we receive it, we send it to people's house. But the people who control, so for example, payment, electricity
Yeah.
payment and
Mhm.
tariffs are like the suppliers and all. So
Okay.
literally, yeah. So the distribution network operator, they are the ones that actually receive from the generation. So from the generation, like wind farms, hydro farms, they actually
Yeah.
generate this electricity. But now it's being very diverse. It's not as downward again where you have generation, transmission, distribution. We
Oh,
have solar farms sending power to the grid
direct.
directly. Yeah, so it's not so straightforward again. So we have heat pumps connected at different areas of the grid. So
Okay.
it's more of I think I had it in my thesis. So it's no longer transitional. It's more of a new reinforced network where
Okay.
everyone is connected. Everyone, because of smart grids and solar power plants connected in edge users outside, we have distribution energy resources now at even at the distribution level and even at customers level as well at different side of the grid. So it's interconnected. So instead of it
Okay.
being a straight downward slope, it's now
Yeah.
interconnected. We have transformers. Transformers are like is an asset which is a device that tries to step it down
Okay.
to the level of voltage your house can use. So
Okay.
for a typical household in the UK, it's 230 volts for single
Yeah.
phase and
Yeah.
400 for three phase. So, for example, you are generating your own electricity and you are generating it on a particular voltage. You
Yeah.
have to either step it up or step it down. But in UK, it's really controlled because you have to pass it through transmission before
Okay.
it gets to your house. So it's really coordinated here in the UK compared to Nigeria, where I generate my solar, I step it down with my battery, and I get it down to my house and everything. But here it's more. We have most of the houses here in England. They have small solar farms that they
Okay.
use, and they have batteries. So they charge these
Maybe
batteries. England, or some places in England.
Country.
Manchester, because I know I did a research on that, and I'm like,
Okay.
it's always raining in Manchester. Why are people having solar panels? And they're like, they economized it at one time. Yeah, a
Everybody
lot of
just
people, yeah, got it, and yeah, so people use it in their house directly, but all this mini grid or micro grid where people build large solar farms, they have to send it to grid. That's the transmission, which must managed by national grid, and then is now being distributed. So it varies per customer, it varies per contract as well. Because for you to even get connected to the grid, you
yeah.
must go through some legal procedures and
Okay.
all. So it depends on the area you're being connected to. If you get, I know I'm like saying a lot of terms, but yeah.
Yeah, no worries. I think people have the picture because in as much as we say the grid is a network, I assume
Mhm.
that a transformer in Oshodi probably cannot be serving a house in Sangotedo.
No.
Okay, or let me use Benin. A transformer on Uniben campus cannot be serving a house in Siloko Road.
No.
So yeah, so you want yes that particular area, and you have to
Yeah.
connect that. Okay, that makes sense. Where do I want to go? Where do we go next? So let's go back to electrical engineering before we get to power systems, because I
Mhm.
think power systems is much more you specifying. And I think you can do that at the master's level, but at the
Mhm.
undergrad level, grad level, what you have is electrical engineering, electrical electronics engineering. And so there is that going back to the generation, the transmission, and the distribution. I
Mhm.
hope that's fine. So if we talk about generation, right? Because we are both Nigerians. And I'm
Yes.
sure you know that somewhere, somehow, I don't know how they do how they did it, the grid, the connection. We don't they see light. We do not see light. So I think there's that question. I think we said that we're going to talk to that question on why our power is messed up. But talk to me a bit about which one do you feel more comfortable breaking down the process around the generation, transmission, or distribution? No, you know distribution. Let's do generation or transmission.
I'm a distribution expert, but I could give you high level key issues that I have noticed with the Nigeria power system, from generation to transmission to distribution, if that's okay.
Let's do that. Okay.
Yeah, so in the Nigerian network, so
Yeah.
we have like Nigeria has like an installed capacity of 10,000 megawatt, so which is large capacity, right?
Okay.
10,000 is a large amount, but we often produce 3,000 to 5,000 reliably. So it means that we have capacity to generate 10,000, but the
Yeah.
only ones we often generate is half or even less than half
Less than
of
half.
our installed capacity.
Yes.
Most times is due to shortage of gas. So from the gas turbine, poor maintenance of our power plants, because you have like different power plants, because this is not well managed.
Yeah.
There's issue, and there's also issue with water, which affects the hydro plants.
Lamps.
Does it make sense? So our power supply and our generation is now below, far
Okay.
below our capacity that we can normally generate, and
Yeah.
now unable to reach the demand that is
Public
expected. So like for example, in Nigeria now, the amount of demand is about 20,000 megawatt.
Oh, okay. So it's even higher than what we can actually generate.
Exactly. So it's far below our installed capacity is far below what we can supply. So I think that's the first issue with generation. So that's the generation side, yeah. Then with the transmission side,
Before you go, when you say one of our problems is shortage of gas, what is that? Which gas is that?
so we have gas turbines. We have gas turbines that
Gas turbine.
so there are different natural way in which electricity is being generated.
Okay. Okay.
So there's water, there's
Yeah.
gas,
Yeah.
there are different ways in which electricity is generated. There's coal, so there are
Yeah.
different ways. So it just depends on the natural material.
Okay. Okay. So this is even
So
before
yeah,
this is part of generation, yes.
this is
So
part
when
of generation.
you see dams, what
Yes, exactly.
gas turbine, coal, I can't remember, but I know because I mean coal is something that they used to use in the old in older times. I don't know if they still use it now, but that's still I think one of the conversations we're having in US at some point.
And
Okay, and
we're
then
moving towards renewables now, so we
yeah,
have
renewable.
more of solar PV farms and all of those interesting things. Wind, yeah, wind turbines. So it depends on the natural material that is used to generate.
Generate
Yeah. So now that's like the issue, broad understanding of the issue with generation. Why for transmission, our transmission network cannot carry all the generated electricity frequently.
Okay.
Why? Because when they say, oh, the grid has collapsed, so
Yeah.
because the amount of even that 5,000 megawatt that the generators are generating,
Yeah.
our grid cannot carry it to. So even when power is generated, it cannot be actually delivered efficiently. The system is already too fragile and often fails when load increase, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because of voltage instability and the current grid has not been upgraded or reinforced enough to be able
Yeah.
to carry the amount of electricity that has been generated and even
Yeah.
supply those electricity.
Yes.
And then with transmission, with the distribution net,
Yeah.
you have issues with old transformers. Transformers from 1964, 1924, and our power lines that are not still upgraded and not yet changed. We have overloaded feeders and high technical losses with low voltages and frequent outages that now cause us, the end users in our house, to suffer from no electricity supply. So now the end users in their house is now unable to even have electricity supply at all when power reaches our side, because either our feeder is overloaded or the transformer is faulty. Oh, the transformer is faulty. Also, so you hear those things. Yeah. So that's in the transmission side. But we also have issues with the financial side as well. So because we have low metering, so the number of meters in houses is not as much, which means that so only few houses have meters. So the estimated billing, so you don't really know how much each house is actually using and how much they are using their electricity. So now we work with estimated billing. Oh, for this house that's small like this, they will not use this kind of so there's not poor payment. You will see people that bypass meter, so electricity theft as well, and they don't even pay. They don't even pay for electricity. So it affects and weakens. So there's no investment. So the entire chain, which is the Gencos, the Discos. The Discos cannot even pay the Gencos because the Discos, which are the distribution companies, they cannot pay, they cannot remit money to the generation companies because people are not paying electricity bill. The ones that are paying, they are overpricing them because they don't have meters installed in their houses. So that's like the entire issue, and policy as well. So there's no policy to encourage continuous investment of electricity in the electrical sector. But we have some investments from the World Bank Group that they're investing a lot, but they are not focusing more on so you see places in the north, they move from no electricity at all to pure renewable energy. So they have like large micro wind farms, PV farms installed, and they have steady supply of electricity because they have a project that elevated them straight. So it's still in a slow process, but it's moving. I just hope I was able to break it down in correct.
I am doing well, teacher. Okay, that's helpful. But we are giving people lights. I think there's another country we give lights.
Yes.
Wow, I don't. How is that possible?
So remember I had mentioned earlier that we give people light because we generate this capacity, right?
Yeah, but we don't have the system to flow the
to actually supply and transmit and distribute. With our structure itself needs full reinforcement, full change, and most of the transformers in areas need to be changed. Most of the power lines needs to be changed. We need to be and our grid needs to actually be upgraded to accommodate the capacity we are generating. We have a lot of generation companies in Nigeria, and one thing that they often complain about is that they're generating electricity, but our grid is not strong enough to actually transmit this electricity. So that's the issue. Countries like Cotonou that we are supplying electricity, they have structure, at least compared to us. They have structure. We generate and we send them, but just generating, right? But they have a transmission network that is able to transmit this electricity, and their distribution network is not able to distribute it to houses. Their lines are reinforced to a certain level. They have transformers that are still not overloaded yet. So they have a structure that will say is working. And there's investments in their electrical power system compared to, yeah.
Okay, let's go back to electrical engineering. The
Yeah.
theory without Nigeria, because this rabbit hole we can continue there till
Yeah.
Jesus comes. So power systems, I'm guessing you do distribution, right? Like you said so.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So what does distribution look like? What is the technical aspect? Explain to me what the process is like I'm a 12-year-old.
So we get electricity, or let's say, yeah, I'll call it electricity as in clear terms. We get power from transmission network, which is the grid. We also get power from different distributed energy resources, but we are focusing on the transmission now. So we get it and we now sell it. I think that's the clear terms. So we get it, we ensure that houses connected to us get it. So as I mentioned before, I work as just a distribution system operator, which is also part of a distribution network company. So DNO, DSOs, we are together. I think we're splitting soon, or we have even splitted. But as a distribution network company in itself, we receive this electricity from transmission in clear terms. We have licensed areas, which means we may not be the company in charge of London. We are in charge of Oxford. We are in charge of Chichester. We are in charge of we have licensed area in the south. We also have licensed areas in the north. So this is our area. This is how much we receive. Then we now have transformers at different areas to step down this voltage. We have big companies like Rolls-Royce, like Lidl, like Tesco connected to us. So their voltage that they are receiving is not going to be 230 because they have like large equipment that they use. So the transformer needed from them, that's what will be installed there. So we carry out the planning for these different areas, install the right transformers to them and everything. Then we sell. We don't sell. So for large industrial customers, we sell electricity to them. But for domestic customers, we have like electricity suppliers that actually bill them and charge them for electricity. So those electricity suppliers get from us. So they buy in bulk. They sell to you in your house, and this is your tariff for the month. This is your electricity bill. So
Okay, all right,
that's the distribution. But it's vast now. It's vast now because we have houses that have solar farms connected to the distribution network. We have A&M systems, active network management.
What's that?
So A&M system, let's call it a block of an asset, a device that's in the network. So as a wind farm or as a PV farm, I can generate 5,000 megawatts of electricity. I want to be connected to this area. However, this area is already overloaded. You cannot be connected to the area. I really want to be connected to the area. How do I get in, please? Okay. Even if the area is overloaded, one thing we can do for you is that we have something called the active network management that can control how much electricity you can generate. So, for example, you are willing to generate let's say 14 megawatts. The network can only accept per time, say 10 megawatts. So you connect that system to your wind farm.
So and it takes 10 megawatts per time.
So if you not see that you're exceeding that 10 megawatt, we warn you, you're exceeding 10 megawatt to cut down, reduce it. If it goes more than the threshold, we cut you off and ensure that you maintain that stationary limit, you maintain that capacity that we have assigned to you. So the AI system monitors and tracks how you are generating this electricity so it does not affect the existing network. So especially when you want to connect to an existing network that is already a constrained area. Constrained area means it's already overloaded. There are already issues there that we're trying to manage. We're saying, no, I can help. Something like that. So
Okay, that's helpful. And in terms of the technical aspect of it, what did you learn in school that helped you in your current profession? So, for example, I'm trying to put it together in a way that the question makes sense to you. what are the technical things that somebody needs to know to be able to do this? They probably teach them in school, but if, for example, I don't study electrical engineering in university, I'm very unlucky and I get into something else other than electrical engineering, but I really, really want to be an electrical engineer. What are the technical things that I probably need to know to be able to get with that field, technical specifically?
First of all, I advise people who have not got into the journey first before you. Yeah, so if you go to a standard university in Nigeria, you will already have a basis of electrical engineering. I spoke to one of my professors in Uni Benin, said we had a good structural curriculum in electrical engineering because he really helped me when I was doing my master's here in the UK. So I was really shocked that like I had a strong foundation because when I was doing my master's, I'm like, oh, they taught me that in school, and they're like, really? I'm like, yes. So, a standard university in Nigeria, Federal University, or any good university in Nigeria, which is teaching electrical engineering, we give you a firm foundation of what you need to understand in electrical engineering. However, if you have gone through the arts route or you haven't had an experience with electrical engineering physics, it's not all gone for you yet. Why? Because I have colleagues in my office that studied art and they currently manage projects, electrical power systems project, and how possible it is. So you just need an open mind to learn because they're going to be learning technicalities of power systems. So they're going to understand how the network works. And if you're going to distribution, which I am very familiar about, you're going to understand how the distribution network works. Which part of the distribution network do you want to be working with? If you want to work with protection of the distribution network, you have to understand electrical power systems protection. What causes a fault in the network? What can trigger a fault? If you want to focus on electricity supply, you have to understand how do we supply electricity? How do customers get connected to the network? How do we manage electricity tariff? So you need a company to leverage on you. So have a background, because I had a colleague that studied art in his bachelor's degree, but apparently he worked for a smart metering company. And he was initially a sales rep there. And he was just selling smart meters and all of those things. And then he started understanding, how does this smart meter work? So electrical engineering is interesting. And he navigated his career from there before he landed in my firm, where he's working as a project manager in an electrical project. So you need to understand what catches your interest entirely. Understand the broad idea, then pick a particular area and just focus on it. Yeah. So I'll say.
Okay. All right. And for somebody who is in high school, physics is what got you here. Would you say a good understanding of physics will help them, make it easier for them?
Physics, mathematics, further mathematics, chemistry, a bit of chemistry, but not so much because you need chemistry for WAEC and JAM. So physics, mathematics, further mathematics. Yeah, English. Because I see people, I struggle with English.
I remember.
I struggle with English. I struggled with English in high school. Oh my God. I struggled with English. It was bad. It was bad. So because I was really good in maths, I was good with further maths, I was good with physics. I knew these things. But you cannot enter university without English. Hey, Jesus Christ, help me. It was God that helped me to get into university.
I'm laughing.
I just keep
I remember. Was it WAEC English?
I was crying in the exam hall.
I can't. Exam that all of us were ready. It was fast for all of us. So I think we were arranged in alphabetical order, I remember.
Yes.
And most of the people that were around you, because our surnames were similar.
Yeah.
Science, there's a bit of art. So it's down and then people are shaking for maths. Lois is like, let's go.
I was English was going to be easy. Everybody was happy. They were writing, this question, this essay. I'm like, not ready. Like, I struggled. I really did struggle. Maybe because I didn't have a good personal tutor English teacher. Or maybe because I didn't have a good, I would say, deep English teacher back in high school. But I struggled with English. My parents tried to hire a private English tutor for me. They were just speaking grammar. I didn't get it. They didn't break English down. It didn't make sense. Yeah. It affected me even when I was doing my PhD. Because I would write Yes, I will write some things, and my supervisor like, yeah, one PhD student, you should not be writing things like this. It's not my fault. I grew in the journey. Like, it was interesting. I grew in the journey. I'm happy I went for engineering. If not, I would
Any
have.
other course, any other, even if it was social sciences, you will still be on that.
So I'm happy. I'm happy I went for engineering, and I think I'm grateful for the kind of friends I met in the UK as well. So when I was doing my masters, I did it
Yeah.
during COVID, and those guys were really smarty pants when it comes to
Perfect.
English. So I'll do the formula, when they give us coursework and all,
Yeah.
then I will not just write. Say no, this is not the right way to write it. Write it like this. I
Oh.
think before ChatGPT and all of these things became very
Yeah.
popular, they will help me read my
Like,
work and everything,
yeah.
and say, okay, this is how you structure it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so I really had great colleagues back then. So it really helped. So, but when I started PhD, they were not there anymore. They left me all alone. But like, yeah, so my point is English is very important. I know as a mathematician or someone that likes physics, you might struggle with English. Maybe it's not you might not be struggling, but I struggle. So if you're like me, who is struggling,
Yeah.
try and get an English tutor. Talk to your parents, talk to your guardian that you really need a private English tutor. There's
Yeah.
YouTube now. There's a lot of resources now that
Exactly.
can help you to
Yeah.
actually invest your time in English writing,
Yeah.
speaking, and listening.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting because I think back then people had such a box definition of intelligence where you
Yeah.
think that because somebody doesn't understand English, you're not intelligent. But
Mm-hmm.
you had a brain that got really fired up when it came to formulas, calculations, equations, and that somebody cannot sit there and deny. It's just knowing what works for you and just
Yeah.
arranging yourself in that queue. Jejely. If you know that mathematics is where you're there, don't go and join English. Oh, don't. You will just double your work for yourself. Very, very important to know. When people say know yourself, know your strengths, it sounds like aspire to perspire, but you can see we are two different people who went through the same educational experience, secondary university, because we both went to Uniped, but we
Yeah.
just quickly from secondary school, this is my destiny. I will stay there. Lois went to physics. I think you were in B class. I was in A, which was art and social sciences. We
Yeah.
everybody just, this is where I'm going to. So as quickly as possible, start to kind of understand who you are, what your interest is, so that you can stay there and also know the struggles that you have that are not negotiables like English. If you
Yeah.
struggle with English, I struggled in math. I struggled with math the very last day of high school. I struggled with math. And what helped me was I had people who understood math, so they would help my life. Everybody just this one. I was good. I think I was best writer to say in literature. I was really, really good with English and writing. When it came to math, it was just not possible at all. So I had peers who helped my life. And second was the last year that I saw math. Until I entered adults and they started asking me to write budgets for projects. Let's leave that one. Which brings us to your PhD story.
So I just want to jump in there. I just wanted to also add that some people might not struggle with maths, they might not struggle with English, they might be
Yeah.
good in everything, and they're like, I don't know what I want to do. Yeah, it's possible. You don't have
Yeah.
so you don't need to have everything figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is fine. We're all at that point where we did not know what we wanted to do. I was at a
Yeah.
point where I did not know if I was going to study electrical engineering or
Yeah.
civil engineering. Yeah. So one thing that have helped my mentees are my siblings. So I try to coach them. I tell them, write a story of where you see yourself or what you're passionate about. Or what you're passionate about. Write why you like maths. Write why you write English. What's your best subject in school? All the
Yeah.
courses you have, write one thing you enjoy about it.
Yeah.
What do you want to see? How do you want people to perceive you?
Yeah.
What catches your interest? And
Yeah.
I think I can study computer science. And like, why do you think I study computer science and not computer engineering? I don't like technical drawing. I'm like, engineering is not only technical drawing. Say no, it just sounds hard. I want science. I want to code. But you can code as an engineer. And I want to have 4 years in school. Computer science it is. So like, I had put my junior sister through that journey of navigating. Oh, I like computer. I actually find interest in it. And she's like, oh, she wants to go to a computer school. And I just supported her. And that's how like she really navigated getting into that space. So write about what you're interested in. You might not have everything figured out. I don't know if it's engineering, I don't know if it's medicine, but just write it out. Write it out. 1,000 words of what you have interest in, and give it to a guardian or your parent. Let them read it out. And you see, as you you keep on writing, you start getting clarity. As you keep on writing, you start getting clarity. And
Yeah.
you might not have everything figured out at the end, but you just have a little idea of what you want to do.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
just good enough to start and keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move to your PhD. Now,
Yeah.
you have this, I don't know what made you decide that you shouldn't stop at a bachelor's or BNG. You should go and do MNG. I think that's it, right? MEN,
MSc.
MS,
MSc. Yeah.
MSc engineering. Then you now want to go and do PhD. When those of those guys go and started looking for money, you said to you like school. Why did you decide you wanted to do a PhD? I think you did your master's in power systems, so I'm guessing it's safe to say that that made you
Yeah, I
decide.
did.
But what was the PhD law for you exactly?
So as that, okay, I think during our private chat before this call, I had mentioned to you that as a year two, my father was telling me, you do masters or PhD, and I'm like, Daddy, when I not marry, what do I know? And he's like, what do you know about marriage? You
Yeah.
go to school, you do this and everything. I didn't get it. Like as a year two, I just wanted to graduate with a first class from Uniben, get married. Maybe have a graduate teaching role at University of Benin because my dad
Yeah.
knew a lot of lecturers then, and get married and start my family. I didn't know anything about traveling abroad. However, I started
Mm-hmm.
growing older and I started seeing that, okay, marriage is not what it seems. Relationship can be very interesting.
Okay.
And also as our final year, I had grown a passion for teaching. I enjoy teaching. I
Hmm.
believe that nothing is hard, that you can actually break it down for people to understand. So at year three, I was teaching my classmates. Year four, year five, I invested my time in teaching. And I knew that like there was like when it comes to teaching, you get your reward immediately because there's
Yeah.
this joy that you see people that
When
move from immediately you see people moving from they don't understand to
exactly.
it makes sense now. I'm like, please, thank you. Please, thank you. So it gave me so much joy. And I knew
Yeah.
academic sector was for me. And I knew
Okay.
that to go in the academic sector, you will need a PhD
Okay.
and you will need a master degree as well. So I was like, okay, yes, we're doing this. I want to do my masters. I started my masters and I was so happy. So when I started my masters, I got a job in one of the oil companies in Nigeria. And my dad
Okay.
was like, stop this master degree and travel to Lagos and start working for this oil firm. I'm going to give you a house, a car, and a good starting salary of 1M at the time. That was 2020. 1M was good money
What?
per month. And I did not want, I didn't have close friends to seek counsel. And my dad was
Yeah.
like, because my school fees at the time was £25,000 for University of Manchester. I was COVID. So I could not travel to the UK
At
because
that
it was
time,
COVID. Yes, I stayed in my house the entire period and I will still pay 25K. So I could not travel to the UK. I was in my father's house doing my master degree and 2 months into the masters, I was offered, you can drop this masters and come and work. I know it's COVID, so it will be easy for you to blend in. Everybody's
yeah.
working from home, so you can just navigate the system. And I'm like, no, I want to be a professor in the future. I will do a master degree
What?
at there. It was very interesting because I was already enjoying the course. Like after a few months, when I didn't tell when I started telling some of my friends, oh, this is what happened. Who's the one advising
How
you?
much did you not tell anybody? Because I don't think
And
there's anybody that
I'm
will have
grateful.
told
I'm
one
grateful.
day COVID.
Yeah, I'm grateful because even when I went for my because in Uniben when you graduate, we graduated 2019, but our
Yeah.
graduation was in 2021. So as I
Okay.
2021, I finished my masters and I went to school and I was telling my professor in Uniben that I just finished my masters from University of Manchester and everything. He was like, but because he knew about my oil company job. I was like, what
Yeah.
about your oil company job? You didn't take it again. I'm like, yeah, when I was doing my master, it got offered to me, but I said no. He was like, come and sit down. Who are you talking to? Who is advising you? Yeah. I didn't have cancer. Do I regret it? No, I'm passionate about what I
Foolish.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
but there was no cancer. My dad was like, okay, if you want to, like this morning I'm paying for this school fees because I think we had already paid half of the money at the time. The
Yeah.
university can give us back, even if they don't give us everything. I will
Yeah.
give you. When they return it, I will give you just to tap your life. I want to be a professor. So yeah, so while I was doing my masters, engineering got so interesting. Yes, my master was hectic because it was back-to-back classes. Also,
Yeah.
it was in 1 year intense program. But I knew I wanted to do a PhD. I wanted to teach. I wanted more for myself. So my father had finished paying my school fees. I was happy. I went to meet him one day and I told him I want to do a PhD. He was like, Do that one in your husband's house. So I'm not, I'm just breathing from this school fees I paid. And I felt bad, and I went to my room, and then he came to meet me, and he's like, don't worry, you do a PhD. And I had massive support from my dad. By the grace of God, I finished my master's, and my dad was willing to pay tuition fee for my entire PhD program. He actually paid my school fees, my first year school fees for my PhD. Yeah, that's how supportive he was until I got scholarship from the university and they refunded back his money. That's another story.
Wow,
Yeah. So I
that
think
is,
that's, you asked about my PhD's journey, so why I wanted, yeah. So that's the story. Yeah.
I really all applause to your dad. Really,
Yeah, yeah.
all
My dad has been,
your dad. That's how your dad is an incredibly supportive parent. I can't
yes, he
imagine.
is.
I just the cost is insane. I can't
Yes,
imagine 25K as a COVID is insane. Wow.
yeah.
I'm so happy that I think that's definitely one of the things that has gotten you to this point. Massive support from your family, particularly
Yes, I
from your dad.
have had massive.
Massive support. And it just goes to show how much further children can go when they have the nod from their parents. When they
Yeah,
have
that's true.
so it's two things. When you have the support and then when you have the resources to support your child, it just
I
makes
had the
it
willingness as well because I remember
exactly.
thanking my dad during my PhD graduation. He was like, no, you were willing to be supported, you were willing to push for them. I was like, no, you supported me. I was talking to my mom, they're like, no, you were very passionate because even while I was in primary school, I don't even understand. I have a twin sister and she was like, you were always reading at home. I don't understand why you were reading, but you always solving maths. And then, because my dad is a mathematician, so I will meet him to teach me maths. My dad will
Yeah,
explain mathematics to you in 5 different ways, five
yeah,
different methods. And I will solve questions and I'll go and give him and we review it. So like at that time, there was that passion and that's where it all grew. So not even waiting for them to go to high school, even from while they are still kids,
yeah.
investing at the time. And my mom at the time was telling me, go and meet your father. Oh, he's the one that knows maths. And so it was that I had great support from my family.
So tell me what your PhD journey was like. Real, honest, raw, unfiltered. Because we've had this conversation before, and I know that it's a 3 year journey. For some
Yeah.
people, it's 2 years. So one of my friends is, I think, has his 4 years. Yours was
Mhm.
3, and some people even do 5, depending on the
Yeah.
coursework. What was it like?
Honest truth. It was interesting. It was hard. My own journey. Everybody have their own journey that they navigated.
Mm.
Did I have fun along the way? Yes, but it was hard. It was the first time in my life I felt dull. I graduated as the best student in my master's, graduated with the first class in my bachelor's. I was coming with fire. I was like, this PhD is gonna be. I was humbled. I was humbled. Like PhD will teach you, my dear. Sit down there, you know nothing. It was. It wasn't easy. And I heard people say, oh, after your first year is easy. When your second year, it gets easier. After second year, you get your feet. I don't know that. So everybody's journey is different. I would say it was not as easy as I thought it would be. It was
Yeah.
a deep learning curve. I was humbled in the degree. Like, my shoulder pad of, oh yeah, very intelligent girl. Nothing. Yeah. Because I think because I had a supervisor who was hands-on. Yes, I was
Yeah.
one of his first few PhD students at the time as he was starting his career as a lecturer and a PhD
Yeah.
supervisor. So he was invested. He reviewed my work. He will provide feedback. Like he was intentional about it. Okay, let me start my journey. Yeah, it's a long go about trying to shorten it. So when I mentioned earlier my dad paid school fees and everything. Navigating that journey because paying with Form A at the time was crazy.
Yeah.
Thank God I was able to get funding because I was awarded best student, so I was meant to have funding apparently, but thank God I was able to get funding for my school. And
Yeah.
then they funded back the school fee that I had paid, and the university paid me,
Yeah.
paid my tuition fee, and they even backdated because I got my scholarship in October and I started my PhD in April
Yeah.
2022. They backdated my stipends to 2022 and they paid everything.
Oh
It
my
was a
God.
huge miracle. Yes, that's when I knew money had power. Because even before getting my scholarship, I was trying to because yeah, my research was more of simulation, so I was
Mhm.
coding, and
Oh,
coding was not my strongest. So I was trying like, how
you
do I
were good.
navigate this? How do I navigate that? But immediately I got my scholarship and everything. It's like my brain opened. because I was not thinking about money
Money
anymore.
stops a lot of nonsense.
Money stopped a lot of nonsense, and I could focus well. And the next week, my code started working out. Trying to meet my supervisor. I was like, "Oh wow, that's interesting. How did you do this?" Yeah, it was a really deep learning curve for me. And I
Yeah.
was thinking, oh, I was good. After my first year, I was like, oh, my supervisor left the university and she went to industry, so I had to
Yeah.
have a new supervisor. Oh my God. My first supervisor was a bit lenient, but at the time I was like, oh, I was just trying to understand her. But I
Yeah.
believe after my first year, I was able to understand her. Maybe we could continue working.
Yeah.
And after my first year, I think before my first year Viva, she had just mentioned, well, I got a job in industry. I'll be moving. I'll be handing you guys. I'll be spreading people apart. And she was like, do you have any preference? I was like, oh, I didn't know why I didn't even mention her. She was like, okay, don't worry, I'll just give it to somebody and everything. I was like, no worries, that's fine. Smiling. And I got the almighty Dr. Alex. He is very hands-on. Like, he will read your work. He will take his time.
Yeah.
Now I'm grateful for him. At the
Yeah.
time, it was hard.
I
At the
can.
time, I did not understand what was happening. Should I just, like, there were times I wanted to actually stop and I wanted to actually withdraw from the PhD degree. They will not remember that my father had told all his friends his daughter is doing a PhD. I will not remember how this man has supported me. How can I say I don't want to do it again? Because I've had friends that just like, oh, this is nonsense. They left the degree because
Okay.
it's
Wow.
getting too tough. Yeah, because it's actually really hard. Because it's a lonely walk and everything. You just be crying. Why you cry? I don't know. Why is it not working? Like it was a deep learning curve for me of patience, of relentless discipline, because you are going to show up every day,
Yeah.
motivating yourself and
Yeah.
learning in that journey. So
Yeah.
it was just very interesting. But we say I had support. I had good friends, colleagues that we were working together. One way or the other, I put a lot of pressure on me because I know that okay, this person is doing let me. So I put a lot of pressure on myself, and up to today, I don't know why. Maybe because I knew I wanted to finish on time. Because the
Mm-hmm.
PhD normally is 3.5 years, but I was like, no, I want to finish in 3 years. I was
Where were you running to?
done. As at year two, after I finished my year two Viva, I was tired. I was already fatigued. Like I knew
Yeah.
that I didn't want to do the PhD more than 1 year anymore. I was
Yeah.
tired because I had gone bachelor's, no break, master's, no break, and I went straight to PhD. So I
Yeah.
was fatigued. And the journey was so stressed that I was like, I was done. I didn't want to do more than 1 year. I just told my supervisor, I would like to finish next year. What do I do to finish next year? He was like, do this, do this, do that, do this. You'll be able to graduate. I'm like, that's all? I was like, yes. I didn't know I set myself up. But yes, I did all of that by the grace of God, and I was able to graduate at the time. And now he's like, thank you for finishing early. I'm like, oh, you
Oh,
don't understand. Like, apart from even studying in my research, I was involved in a lot of activities. I was volunteering in the
nice. Now.
IEEE PS. People were like, oh, you're still involved. How are you able to navigate PhD and all of those things? All of those things kept me alive. It kept me going because when my code is not working, I'm volunteering in IEEE PS. I'm talking to people about electrical
Yeah.
engineering. We're organizing seminars, conferences. So people felt that it's a lot of distraction. Was it a distraction at the time? For me, I saw it as a good distraction. My mind is not just focused on what is not working. I have
Yeah.
something to deviate me, but I didn't even know I was building my portfolio because I was happy volunteering. We were not paid at all at the time. We were just free food, which was nice. But like, yeah, I was volunteering in IEEE. I had good mentors like Dr. Steve, who I was teaching. So I was a guy teaching assistant as well at the university.
Okay.
So I enjoyed teaching. So anytime I was going for a class, I'm very excited. Just even when I was going through some different phases in my PhD and all. So there were really high times. And when I got my first paper accepted. So when I submitted my first paper, yeah, it got rejected twice. So,
Oof.
but I didn't know it was the preparation for the best. However, the first time was rejected, I felt so bad. And you know when you get rejected first time, like the next time
Yeah.
I worked on the feedback, and the second time it got rejected. Oh, I was like, oh, this is my life. Oh, what is happening to me? But I thank God it finally got accepted the third time. And one thing that happened was you now won the best poster at our university competition. I had to travel
Oh,
to Doha, Qatar to present my work. It was
you.
beautiful. So there were high times during the research. So I even got to, so I had to, so like that was the beginning. I wrote another paper that got accepted. I traveled to Croatia for a conference, Dubrovnik. And from Dubrovnik, I went to Montenegro, and I've been traveling to different places to present my work. It was fun, that part, but the real PhD work itself, good. But yeah, so like those were the things that were really the high moments during the research. But I would say it's a rewarding journey because you learn a lot,
Yeah.
especially transferable skills like discipline, staying
Yeah.
self-motivated, being focused on the goal, voluntary, because I was able to stand understanding that okay, it was during my PhD I knew that I didn't want to stay in the academic sector after my PhD. I knew that no, 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 no.
Really? I was
I'm
just
going
that. Okay.
I'm going to industry. I was done. I wanted to just breathe. And the main reason was the fact that I met a woman who had 30 years experience in industry. I came to academia. I had like 15 years experience in academia.
Yeah.
And she's a professor in electrical engineering. When you
Okay.
hear her talk, she talks with so much confidence because she
Yeah.
has a lot of wealth of experience in both
Yes.
industry and academia. And it was beautiful. So I was like, I want that. I want to go to industry to help
Yeah.
get my hands dirty, understand what is happening
Exactly.
there. They come back. So when I'm teaching my students, they know that I know what I'm saying. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not, because then when I was doing my master's, we had some GTAs. I would just try to ask them some questions. I have the GTA. Because they're just PhD students. What do they know, right? But like, I knew that I saw the passion she had for power systems and how that, wow, I was like, no, I'm going to industry. And yeah, that's how interesting my journey was. But I would say I had God helping me and holding my hand the entire time, especially during
Yeah.
those difficult times. I had my family. My dad would always call me every weekend to pray with me and say, how's it going? What's your supervisor saying? And my mom would say, balance your life. Oh, it's not only school, do all that things as well. I had my siblings always cheering me up. I had a church community as well that
Yeah.
was really let's give us free food in church. Oh God. So
God.
it was really nice. I think that's my PhD journey in a nutshell, yeah.
There's so many things you said I want to pick out.
Yeah.
I think three things is one is around doubling on the experience. I find that so true. There's a difference between somebody who has industry experience teaching you and somebody who has been in academia all their lives. There is a shrewdness and a different way they see things. For example, if you are probably in business school, I think it's advisable. I don't know if I read it somewhere, it's my imagination, that the people who are teaching you are people who actually have the experience. Most of, so for example, some of the programs you see, very interesting MBA programs, are not just of people who have years of experience in academia. What these people also do is that they go out and they partner with companies, with firms to do some of their work. So that by the time you're coming back to the MBA class and they are telling you, they are not telling you just from paper, they are telling you from experience. And it's so
Exactly.
important. Like it's really, I have myself as well. I think one of our ending dreams at some point is when all is said and done is to pack our bags and go to a school and teach. And it's not from academic experience, it's from real life experience. It's so, there's a way you see things, they see things that you cannot see from paper, you cannot see from research. It's just really, really different. And I think anybody who is even dreaming of doing academic work should try and get industry experience as well. It will level your vision in a way that you'd never thought or imagined, because those are two different perspectives. And it's also very important, by versa, for people who are doing the research to also be in the business field, because people in the business field, sometimes what happens is they are thinking about profit, about cost, about loss, and those kind of things. But those people come with the ethical background, the theories, the grounded framing and work and way of thinking. And by the time you say, you can't do that, you can't go in that way because XYZ. So sharing, mixing that learning is important. That was one thing I talk about. The second one, before I want to go to the last one, is talking about the PhD program itself. One is, what is the process like? So if I want to do a PhD tomorrow in power systems engineering, just give me a scanty overview of what the process will look like. And then you mentioned that your supervisor told you specific things you needed to do to graduate in 1 year. What were those things? Because somebody might be listening and they are at the end of their wits end. I have friends who are doing PhD and it's not beans. Like you and I have spoken about, you have said it's not beans. So if somebody is thinking, I really want to get out of this program now, that's probably a good question that they want to ask you. But if I'm also thinking I want to do a PhD, I mean, I'm probably thinking I want to do a PhD sometime in my future of my life as well. What does that look like generally? And then what did you now have to do in your last year to graduate
Yeah.
early?
Or do you want to understand the application process of how I got in, or do you want to understand what the entire program looks like?
Okay, so both
Or
of
both?
them, just high level.
Yeah, yeah. High level both. So I did my master's at the University of Manchester, as I mentioned earlier. So for me, it was talking to different professors and asking them their interest. I knew I wanted to do a PhD, but I didn't know what to focus on. So
Okay.
my closest professor friend, I reached out to him. I'm like, I'd like to do a PhD. But I don't know I want to focus on. The first advice he told me was talk to different lecturers that who are currently teaching you and ask
Mm-hmm.
them for their research interest. So I was like, okay, you tell me what's your research interest. He told me about what he was interested in. I'm like, nah, I don't think I'm interested in something like this. He referred me to somebody else. And they're like, oh, I know. I think I want something operational. I want something. Oh, I think this person is operational. Then he reached out. I reached out to the other person, and the person had mentioned, I work with finance. I'm like, no, I don't think I want to understand finance in power systems. I want to understand how it really works. Then I met a professor that now finally referred me to my PhD first year supervisor that worked on operational. However, if you don't have the platform like that where you can talk to different people
Yeah.
or take advantage of your MSc program, you could send emails. So I also mentor some people in PhD applications where you can send email to different professors. Like all of the universities have their
Yeah.
professors and lecturers profile on their website. So read their profile, see if you have interest in what they're doing because all their published work is also on their profile
Yeah.
that you can actually read. And send emails to them, show them your interest, attach your CV, send interest to them. Send multiple emails. So you're not just focusing on one lecturer in one university. Reach out to multiple lecturers. Try and book a meeting with them and have a conversation with them. Because the most often than not, they're always busy and your email may get lost in their inbox. So follow up emails and all of those things will help you get to have a first conversation with them. And once you're able to learn the supervisor, you can talk about funding. And
Yeah.
then, because sometimes your supervisor may have funding to sponsor your program. Other
Yeah.
times, they might nominate you for a university for the funding, or you can apply for an external funding, depending on the
Yeah.
one you would like to apply for. And then once you have that sorted out, you just apply and it's a straight admission because you know that you have a supervisor secured and every other thing secured.
Yeah.
Especially when your academic criteria is up to date as well, because each
Yeah.
university requires bachelor's degree to be in a certain grade and if
Yeah.
there's certain master's degree to be in a certain grade as well. So for the PhD program, it varies per school. So
Yeah.
at the time when I was doing my PhD, it was 3 years of research. We didn't have classes, we didn't have nothing, but we had research online development program that you could learn how to presentation skill, you could learn writing skill. So they
Yeah.
organize it every month for different levels. So
Yeah.
first year PhD students or writing, or first year PhD student presentation, how to
Yeah.
present, how to prepare for your first year Viva, first year examination, and all of those things. So we have development programs that we could engage in, how to build
Yeah.
a community, how to ask questions, how to write your objective, write your research proposal, and all of those things. So we had that, but we didn't have to go to the office. Because we
Oh.
are looking to office spaces and everything. We didn't have to go to the office daily. My research was simulation based. Your research might be experimental. So you had to carry out experiment. I would do simulation as well. But I didn't have to go to the office. I could work from home. But I was starting a degree and I needed to be very serious with my life. So I took it as a job and I was always going to the office 8 to 5 every day. And sometimes, yeah, I was. I think it was my last year. I was like, why was I going to the office? Why did I not just work from home? I was not able to, initially, I was not able to develop the discipline of working from home. I just knew
Okay.
that, okay, I needed to show up. At least I would miss people and all of those things. So all of those things helped you. So 3 years of intensive research. But one good thing about my university is that at the end, at the ninth month of every year,
Mm-hmm.
we have to do a presentation. So you have to write a report and do a presentation
Yeah.
on what you have done for that year. Then they will not
Yeah.
determine if you are qualified to move to the next year or
Yeah.
not. And yeah, so there are different grading to that. So after my second year Viva, by the grace of God, I had passed my Viva and I had spoken to my
What's it?
supervisor. Viva is like examination, project defense.
Okay.
Yeah. Project defense based on the project report you have written for that year of what you have done. I
Yeah.
had told my supervisor that I would like to start working from the following year. So that was in 2024. I think I was applying for a job because I applied to start applying for a job in September. I wanted to graduate 2025. I was looking for because of my visa as well, because there was the visa issue. I wanted to start working. I need to finish in 1 year. What can I do to finish in 1 year? So he had told me that to be able to finish, I
Mm-hmm.
needed different criteria. And this differ for every PhD student and
Yeah.
every supervisor because
Yeah.
I can tell you, oh, this is what my supervisor told me, and you do it. But your supervisor might not want that. So your
Yeah.
supervisor clears you off first before any other person.
Any
Yeah.
other person.
Before the examiners and all. So he had told me that I needed 2 conference papers and 1 journal paper
Oh,
submitted and published, or at least the journal paper is under review before my viva. So I have concrete work to show that I have evidence of my work has been honest, peer reviewed, and is
yeah,
qualified for a PhD. So
yeah,
it was like that's what is required for me, and that's what he requires for his PhD student because he helps them, he set them on the edge so that during their viva they have works already published. So like, oh,
yeah,
this work has been published in this conference, or this book will be published in this proceeding, and all of those things. So he had told me that, and he had said we have a conference coming up in October. The deadline was in April. He was talking to me in March. At the end of February, I will have to prepare a conference paper, and I'm like, where's the result? Where is everything? And then, but like, yeah, he was hands-on as I mentioned. So I had meetings with my supervisor every week throughout my
yeah,
PhD. I think he was like, you're not a senior PhD student. We're not meeting every week again, every 2 weeks now. I'm like, no, I need to show you something. What he had actually applauded me for was my resilience and consistency, because I was always, over the times I did not feel like, I'm like, I'm tired, but I would just always show up and everything. And he was really supportive. I booked a meeting with him.
yeah,
I was really there to support me throughout the entire journey. That's what happened. I was able to navigate through it, and thanks be to God, I was able to write my thesis in time.
yeah,
I
yeah.
had 1 month blockage. I had 1 month blockage, the writing block. So immediately I submitted the first draft of my thesis, I had 1 full month writing block. I was so hard on myself. I'm like, why can't I write? I'll call my friend, pray with me. I don't know what's happening to me. She said, Lois, rest in Jesus' name. Lois, rest. I'm like, no, I need to finish. And also, my advice to PhD students out there, do not compare your journey with other people's journey. Create your own journey. Create your own PhD
Yeah,
story. It's unique. Don't put too much pressure. Oh, I want to finish in 3 years. Fine. It's fine if you want to finish in 3 years. But don't put too much pressure on yourself. Enjoy the journey. It's worth enjoying. Even if I had mentioned all the PhD was hard, but I enjoyed. I met a lot of people. I volunteered. I was an ambassador for my university. I was talking to new PhD students, sharing my story with them. Even sometimes when
yeah,
my code was not working, I would just go there and start sharing it. Create your own PhD journey. Do not look at other people's more. I was going through it, but no, we don't look like our problem. But like, yeah, enjoy every season, enjoy every journey of your life. Take it one step at a time. Set realistic goals, because I see plenty of people say, I need to do this, I need to do. How can you do 10 things in one day? And in a normal day, you can only do half of one. So set realistic goals towards them. You need God, especially if you're a Christian, to guide you and to help you. You need
yeah,
support system like your family. They need to understand your journey and encourage you through that path, because you might be saying, oh, I can do it by myself. But if they don't have support system, even colleagues as well, that could
yeah,
encourage you, because sometimes I don't feel like working, but I see my friend, no, you don't want to work. Huh? It's like, you like University of Manchester, you want to stay here. And also, I'll come to your office and everything. All of those things really helped me. And build network. Build network. When you go to conferences, don't just do your presentation, talk to people. If you're volunteering if you're working as a GTA, talk to professors, because like, I would say, while I was doing my PhD, I think like the lecturer who I was working with as a GTA, he grew
yeah,
so much interest in me because I was really supporting him in the course. I was like,
yeah,
oh, he referred me to different companies for job. So that's kind of network you can also build by doing your PhD. He came to meet me. I was like, oh, what company are you interested in? I was like, oh, I just applied for one company. Like, no, you cannot apply for one company. He was like, reach out to this person. Tell this person you're for me. Reach out to that person. Tell that person you're for me. Like, this is not my
that's,
PhD supervisor. This is a professor I just worked with as a GTA. And there
yeah,
was so much interest. I mean, he was able to connect me to his friend because he had about 30 years experience in the industry. He was like, he knew he wanted to teach. So he came back to academia to start teaching. So he has connections already. All his friends, they started together were vice presidents. And I was talking to vice president of engineering firms in the UK. And I'm like, oh my God. So like all those people helped me. They really, because like the first person he referred me to, I told him about my interest. I told him about, he
yeah,
was like, introduce yourself. I finished introducing myself. He was like, no, I see your CV. You're selling yourself short. Sell yourself. This is you, your brand. Like, he spoke sense to me. The next time I was talking to another vice president, I was selling myself. I was like, I
you're
am this,
ready.
this, this,
Ah,
this. Like, yeah, sometimes we act timid because, UK industry, it's not easy to get a job any which way. You are good enough. You need a PhD. That means you can do it. If you get a
yeah,
rejection from a company, it means that company is not for you. Get the feedback, realign yourself, and continue applying. And supportive network is always very important as well. I can emphasize that people who are encouraging you through that journey. But like, yeah, that's my story.
that is, I mean, everything. The supportive network
Yeah.
is, we can stay there for days. Because I think
Yeah.
all the people that I've spoken to in this series, everyone has
Mm-hmm.
said roughly the same thing. You can't do it alone. You need
Yeah.
support. You need people that you can call on your bad days, people who can pull
Mm.
you. When I was doing my master's, it was two of my friends who, there
Mm.
was two that will go to library together. Days that the team was doing me, someone said, "Oh yeah, library, let's go." What do you mean? Let's go. You'll be depressed later. Let's go. And that was literally what helped me get to the end of my program. And I
Mm.
cannot imagine, I'm sure it was definitely the same for you. Which brings
Yeah.
me to one last thing.
Sorry, I just wanted
That,
to add something. Sorry. Yeah, the one thing I want to add is I hear some PhD students say it's not possible to get a job before you finish. It is
mm,
100% possible to get a job before you finish. You can start working even before you finish your PhD. I started working before I finished my
before you
PhD.
finish your PhD.
Yeah. So I just told my manager that I'm still a student, so I can only work 20 hours. And oh, no problem. I'm currently in Manchester. The company is in Glasgow. I told myself I needed the best candidate for the job. So whatever works for you, I'm going to adapt and work towards it. And yeah, by the grace of God, I got that job. And 1 month into the role, my visa got changed. As a PhD student, you have the opportunity to change your visa after 24 months of being a student. So I was
Okay.
able, yeah, so even when I was studying my PhD, I got sponsored by my company. So I switched from student visa to skilled worker visa, even while studying my PhD. So I was not
Okay.
even, they say, at that point, if I wanted to just fling the PhD and continue my life, I would have. But I know. I was already writing my thesis at the time, so there was no need. It was a whole lot because I was navigating industry at the same time finishing up academia. But it was helpful because I started getting hands-on experience of flexibility service, which my research was on. So it
On
really helped me. So during my Viva, I was talking with so much confidence and I'm like, wait, after the exam, they called and asked, what do you currently do? I'm a flexibility scheduling engineer and engineering analyst. They're like, oh, that makes sense. You're not a usual customer. Everyone started laughing. So yes, you can. Yes, you can do it and just believe in yourself and trust God. So yeah. So you want to ask the last question?
I wanted to ask you, yes, resilience. I think that, so I can say this because I know you. You are an
Mm-hmm.
extremely resilient person.
Mm,
Extremely. So there's something for people who say they want to, this is where I want to get to, and they
mm,
will get themselves there. The ability to just fling everything away. This is it. I'm going to, because I mean, for example, high school, Lois had two friends. And that was it. Things to be happening. Lois does not know. You see that physics? Lois will be in that class block with her physics note. Every other person, the whole school can be on fire. Lois does not know. You see Lois on campus in Unimed. Lois, how are you? I just was very extremely focused and then also extremely resilient. There is the aspect of focus, and I think that's also important because I haven't done the research, but we seem to be having this thing where we are losing it these days. The ability to stay on one thing, to stay. I'm talking about for hours, for weeks, for months, for
mm,
years. It is literally a vision you had when you were in secondary school that carried you to college. This is 10. When did you graduate? This is literally
2014.
literally 10 years at least to stay on one thing, to be resilient, come what may, we die here. This is our tent, we'll build it here. So what is it for you? What is it that has helped you build that resilience? How are you able to shut out all the noises? Because I also came to visit you in Manchester. I think was it last year, whenever.
Yeah.
I was like, Lois, I'm not changed. I'm not changed. I went to go and do the thing that I came to do for work. I came back. I met Lois in the same place after many hours. Very, very extreme focus. And I think it's something, what have you done to kind of get to that point?
First of all, I would say it's the grace of God and my father's prayers. I would say that first because sometimes I don't feel like I'm tired. But I'll say first of all is the grace of God. Secondly, I perceive myself in a certain way. I see myself as a greatest critic, and I feel
Okay.
like I I am built for impact. So not only impact on people, impact on systems, impact on
Yeah.
processes. So I need to
Yeah.
develop and equip myself to a certain level to be.
Yeah.
That's why you read my bio, I'm an emerging leader because I am actually equipping myself right now. So at that
Yeah.
time, I had mentioned, oh, I was a rising star because I was still building. I see myself in a certain way. Well, among the few people that believe we can change the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So because I see myself like that, you cannot be thinking small. Lois Efe, how to do this? You have to go like before now it was I had a goal for every year. I need to do this, that, and that, this, that, and everything. And I always work towards it by the grace of God. But I started saying that, okay, setting goals are important, setting objectives are important, but the real person that can help you is Jesus Christ. Because he's the master planner of my life, and he helps me navigate each step. Because there are times I feel so bad when what I want to happen doesn't go my way. Like I'm angry and I'm vexed. So I have a lot of emotions tied towards it. That's why I'm realizing, okay, it is not my story, it is Christ's story. Oh, I'm preaching. But like, it's not my story. So but like, so I started understanding that. I started calming down. Like, Lord, direct me on each step on what I need to do. And by the grace of God, I've been able to focus. Like, my friends will be like, I saw you crying just now because of you had an issue with your friend or something. You back here reading book? I'm like, I don't understand. And they send me come school. Like, are you the one that brought me to school? I will read my book. I knew I needed to be the best that I can be. So it was. I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm in competition with the last version of myself. I needed to just be better. It was, what was the final mark? 100. Yes, we can work towards 100. Let's work towards 100. It was not, that person, I need to be that person. So it was never my lifestyle at the time. So even after doing PhD, I was putting so much pressure on myself and all of those things. That I just wanted to leave the degree, like graduate, and start building my career. Okay, this is school. Okay, what do I want to really do? Okay, how do I want to impact people? How do I want to? So all of those things kept me, because like, I have siblings that look up to me. I heard my brother say, "Oh, you motivate me every time." I have never sat my brother down to say, "This is what I do. You must be motivated." He's the lifestyle he has seen me live. They say, how can you be like this? So I'm an ambassador preaching. My lifestyle is preaching to people itself without me saying any word, right? So I believe the world can be a better place. I believe that they can be a change. They can be impact. But it requires me, you, and everybody to be good at what they are doing to require that. So I think those are those things that have kept me going. And my father holds me in so much high esteem. And I'm grateful to God that he's still alive today, seeing me and enjoying all of the things I have now. But he's my greatest cheerleader. My sibling says that when I get married, the baton will be passed to my husband. Maybe. However, my father cheers me up every time. He said, "Oh, you can do that. Oh, yeah. You should go for it." And And then I have, like, I think I've been grateful to have good people. My manager also supports me. My manager tells me, I'll tell my manager, "Oh, I'd like to do this. I'd like to do this. How far do you want to go? I want to jump. Like, how high do you want to jump?" And I'm like, how am I blessed with this kind of people? And I've had good people who have been really strong support system along the way. So my manager is like, Lois has done this, and Lois is this. I'm like, is that me? So you see people who, so all of those things will still help to keep me going and keep on pushing that. It's not just your story. People are looking at you now. You have to keep up the fire. You have to keep up the zeal. So I was, say,
That is, I mean, that is definitely a lot of things in there. There was something I won't pick particularly that has just dropped off of my head. But yes, it's thinking beyond yourself, thinking in systems, thinking larger than yourself makes you put you on a pedestal because you start to see it is beyond you. And so you hold yourself to a certain level of not perfection, of delivery of output. I must deliver. I must wake up every day to deliver because this thing I'm driving is beyond me. And just having that mindset, because people don't, it's hard when it's just you. It's quite easy when it's just you to just give up. I'm the only person reliant on this. When it's more than you wake up and feel like you're not to give to it. I really enjoyed this conversation, Lois, and I'm definitely proud of you. I mean, I was supposed to come for your grad, but I think work that period I didn't come, and I'm so sorry. But I was so happy. I am so happy for you. Honestly, it's so great to see from when we're rats to now. It's just, I am so happy for you. Congratulations. I hope that this conversation has really spurred people, whether you want to go to a PhD or not, whatever it is you want to do, think bigger than yourself and stay on it. Lois, as she said, is a mentor for women. So if you are looking for Lois, you find Lois on LinkedIn, Dr. Efe, as well. Yeah, definitely going to come and we're pulling you closer into the girl lead network. There's no, you don't have choice. Sorry, as we do women things, please, we need your help. But yeah, thank you so much for this
Thank you.
conversation. Thank you. I really hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did.
Yes, I did. I enjoyed sharing my story. So yeah, thank you.
Well, folks, that's it for us, curious people. Until the next episode, until the next conversation, stay curious. Bye.
Bye.